everybody will be eyeballing the defense. I like I said, I think this offensive line would be one of the best in the nation. I mean, top 5 in the nation. The defensive line, they've had guys that have played in games. They got a lot to replace.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot to replace. The 2 guys that are gone are tons. And the linebacker, that's a huge – when you put 11 guys into the NFL, you got a lot to replace in all aspects of your football team. But on this defensive front, 2 guys with trophies in hand and draft choices, yeah, boy.
Yeah, 2 top 40 draft choices, right? Not just draft choices, like a first rounder, the guy who was the second defensive player off the board, and then, a guy who, despite DUI and a car wreck, like a month before the draft.
And weighing 390.
And weighing 420 pounds.
Yeah.
Still ended up going in the top 40 picks. Like, that's
Absolutely.
how good those dudes were. So, that's you've got to make sure those dudes are replaced.
Yeah, and a linebacker that I thought that just had to be linebacker coach last year, who the year before just played the position and was fabulous at it. Should have been the defensive player in the Big 12 and one of the best in the country. Had, the year after, all of a sudden was being player coach that I think took him away from his game a little bit. That guy's a good football player. Somebody's getting a good football player.
Sure. Well, this is a test. This is like the next test for Texas Longhorn football, right?
For sure.
They passed a lot of tests last year, and they did things that they haven't done in a long time. And Steve Sarkisian himself did things that he's never done as a head coach. So I know they came up a play short of the national championship, but everyone is calling 2023 a successful season for UT. And it was a massive step in the right direction.
No doubt.
Checked a lot of boxes. But here's the next thing, Buck. You look at Alabama under Nick Saban. You look at Georgia under Kirby Smart. You look at the teams. You look at Clemson under Dabo Swinney until the last couple of years. Like the teams that have been running college football. Ohio State, another team to throw in there.
Michigan, yes.
They lose 11 players to the draft every year. And what do they do the following season? They're right back where they were the year before. So that is what happens. Like you're going to have roster turnover if your program is good. Everybody agrees it's a great thing that Texas just had 11 players drafted, because there have been years where they've had 0 players drafted, which how can you feel good about your program at all if that happens? But this is the next test for Texas. Like, are you on that level? Was last year a 1-year one? Is it going to take you a couple of years to get back there because you lost so much?
Or
can you do what the Blue Bloods, what the top dogs in the sport do every year, which is they lose coaches, they lose a bunch of players, and they are still
nothing phases them to go right back to what they're doing.
Bingo. That's the next step for Texas. Like that last year cannot be the anomaly. If they are a legit program and if they are truly back.
And they will be tested where they are now. So
like if they are truly where I want them to be and where people expect them to be, because this is going to be a preseason top 5 team, then they're going to go on the road and beat Michigan in week 2. And they're going to win double-digit games in their first year, even though they're in the best conference in the sport.
I would agree.
They're going to make the college football playoff. Like if that doesn't happen, then you're not there yet. And
you're still building. That means you're still building towards that. You're right.
All right. And I hate even bringing this guy up right now. I'm just killing the vibes here. We're on a cloud 9 from stealing A&M's baseball coach. So sorry for doing something like this. But like what happened to Tom Herman, right? He had a very successful year. People got excited. It's like, okay, we're back. Hell, the quarterback said it for the whole world to hear. And that whole offseason was like, all right, like we're going to build on this. And we won the Sugar Bowl, but next year we're going to be in the playoff and we're going to win the conference. Took a massive step back.
Yeah, but the guy himself who led the program, I think people around saw the implosion of that individual himself and that he was going to – I mean, I was around a guy named John Makovic that was like that. You could just feel that individual was going to implode and the whole program was going to start tumbling down piece by piece by piece. You know, the bricks were just going to start falling out. And having that guy around, you could just feel that. And I think there's a stability within the program and within the whole athletic department that I don't see people feeling that way. And I'm not saying that you win every game. I'm just saying that you don't fold up your tent and just get pushed around where you're going right now. I think that your program is solid. Your strength and conditioning program is solid. I mean, I watched Tom Herman, and just the vibe that I got from him as a person and what you heard around the city and what kind of person, I'm like, now that's going to start tearing down the walls of your program brick by brick shortly. And that dude did that.
Yeah.
He just did it as a person, you know?
I think, Sark always says all gas, no brakes. I think Tom Herman took his foot off the gas a little bit and started coasting, right? He thought he had this thing in cruise control after that 2018 season and that win over Georgia.
But you can see that in him as a person, that he would feel that way, thinking he's that kind, that he's just that guy, you know?
Look, I won't go revisionist history. Like, I bought into it. I didn't think that was going to happen. Now, I think there are 100 reasons to feel better about Sark than Tom Herman. And I think Sark has said everything right, and he's done everything right this offseason to make sure that last year was not a one-year wonder.
And I don't think Tom Herman had his slap down moment where in his life he got slapped down. He just kind of continued to be the joy boy. The joy boy. Things were working.
I mean, how fast did that guy rise up the coaching ranks?
I told you, to me, when he was at Houston, the whole city of Houston was more about the Cougars than I've ever seen anybody about a pro team. And they were so into that dude and what he was doing, into that program. It was unbelievable. When I went down there for the Oklahoma game, I was like, there's no way that they're into the Houston Cougars in football like they are with this guy. And that whole city was on fire about that team and about that person. But but when you got here, you could just see some subtle things about him personality-wise that you're going to go, oh, shit, this is for real, coach, here.
Yeah.
But you didn't see it in that first year when he went to, and won the Sugar Bowl. But there was just rumors that started getting around, like he's not as stable as you think. Right. And he's never had that slap down moment,
You're right. Yeah, look, I mean,
Sark has been slapped down now.
I think that's
things that he's done.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, right? Tom Herman wasn't really humbled all that much,
right,
in the coaching profession. I don't know everything about his personal life, but in the coaching profession, we all saw Sark get humbled more than just about any coach has ever been humbled.
Yes,
because of what happened, at USC, and everybody saw it, right? It wasn't just a coach who got fired like not even 2 years into a job. It was, he did that, and that's why he got fired.
Yes.
And, this is embarrassing. Really? This guy might never coach again. He just threw his career away.
That's
right.
Sark
had to work his ass off to get back here. So, that's different. Like Tom Herman, just every couple of years, he was getting a better job.
That's right.
Everything was kind of working for him. And Tom Herman, before year one, he basically got the parents together and were like, don't say anything to the press. And parents were like, what? Like, you're going to tell us what we can and can't say about our own children?
About that.
I'm a mother of children.
Mother of children?
Mother of children. Thank you, Coach. You're going to tell me what I can and can't say? And then, of course, like the next day, a mom went to Brian Davis of the Statesman and was like, the coach told the parents to not say anything to the press. Like, you're right. That's one of those things early on. It's like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel normal. This guy shouldn't be doing this. Sark hasn't had anything like that.
No.
And once again, there are 100 reasons, maybe 1,000 reasons to feel like Texas won't repeat that history following up a good year with a bad year. But still, that is the next test. This is something that Sark has not had to deal with in his coaching career. Mac Brown did a fairly good job of this, right? The 2000s decade, Texas was losing guys to the NFL every year. They were still winning 10 games more often than not. So, it can be done. And once again, Bama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, plenty of schools. Hell, before Brent Venables year one, I'd throw Oklahoma in there too.
You're right.
Those guys lose dudes to the league. They lose coaches to other staffs, and they still are resilient and bounce back like it's nothing. That's what Texas has to do this season, for sure.
I would agree. You have to continue to build on what you're building on. You can't take. There's no days off, no time off right now. This is, and especially going into year number one in the SEC, you can't go in there looking weak, and you don't look weak. You look very, very strong. Your athletic department looks strong. Your football team, as I said, I thought last year, for the things that they did last year, that we were in a heat wave in the state of Texas like nobody's business. And the majority of these kids, I was thinking, boy, this is a long season. And these guys look in shape. They played in shape. There weren't a bunch of them laying on the ground, during the course of football games. I had seen it before out of Texas football teams where every play there was a guy laid out. Let's cart him off. Okay, is he going to get back in the game? There weren't a lot of that stuff. This team was physically fit and mentally ready to play last year. They were ready to win a championship and be in championship games, and you can't then all of a sudden do that. And then the following year look weak and timid again. You can't do that.
Yep. Bingo.
And this is a conference that can make you look that way. Even if you're a good team, even if you're good, they can make you look weak, week after week. And their bad teams can go in there and physically hang in there with it. You can't let it happen.
Bingo. It's well said. Yeah, there's no rest. I know Texas has an easier SEC schedule.
That's fine. That's great.
It's still an SEC schedule.
Yes.
And also you got to play the defending champs in their house in the second week of the season.
Ooh.
So it ain't an easy schedule. It might be easier when you look at some of the other teams in the SEC, but it's still like a top 20 schedule in college football. So
you got Georgia at home, Florida at home. Even as bad as Florida is Florida, even if they're bad, now you may get lucky enough that their coach may not be around by the time he plays you.
If we lose to this Florida, though, that's going to be a problem. The game's late in the year. We'll see if somehow Florida is miraculously like 6-2 going into Austin. But their Vegas win total this year, Buck, 4.5.
Wow.
So this ain't your older brothers or your
dads.
And
you can't be involved in being one of the you can't be one of the other teams that loses to them. No,
don't be one of those 4 to 5. Please.
Don't be one of the 4 to 5. No way.